This is 5 Minutes with Mike, our news, our voice, and our opinion. With your host, Michael Beckford. Now stop, listen, and pay attention for 5 Minutes with Mike.
Hey, and how you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Mike. It is a pleasure to see all of you guys that are joining via podcast that you can find on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you choose your podcast. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for my recent subscribers. I appreciate you guys. And welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Mike. We're going to get right to it. This is episode dealing with white people have attorneys and black people have public defenders. Yeah, it's a mouthful. There is no way in the world that you can have equal justice under the color of law. We have two systems of justice, quote unquote, fighting for their own ulterior motives. One system prides itself on locking up newly registered slaves. Yeah, I said it. The other system does all that it can with big-time budgets to make sure their clients do not see the same faith as the other system that is fighting to persecute them. And of course, as we all know, justice is inherently biased. Because although the figure of justice is blind by all accounts, it can still hear and listen to the gravity of a nation that has failed a particular people day in and day out. Welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Mike, where white people have private attorneys and black people have public defenders. And this episode of 5 Minutes with Mike is sponsored by the Urban Classics Collection. Download 12 ebooks plus 3 audiobooks, all for less than the price of a hardback book. With best-selling titles such as Dying to Be Straight and thought-provoking books such as Speak Up Poetry and Dirty Negroes, this collection of urban books and audiobooks is great for those that are lovers of African American literature. All 12 ebooks and Urban Classics collection is written by me, Michael D. Beckford, and link is in the description below. Now, with a limited time 50% off discount, promo code 2023 books, that's 2023 books for 50% off the Urban Classics collection. Link is in the description below. Now, let's get back to our episode. We're talking about white people have private attorneys and black people have public defenders. You know, the basic thing is, this is another episode that I just have to go back and start in my first segment on the fact that you have black bodies and white power, okay? There was a distinct time in America where slavery, particularly shadow slavery, shadow slavery too. We got shadow slavery right now. But in particularly, chattel slavery here in these United States of America was not considered a crime to own another human being. As a matter of fact, the courts backed this assertion with law, and it was illegal for a black man to walk around free, an America black man, woman, boy, or girl, I should say. The legal system and the Constitution was already predisposed to side with the master anytime his slave were to step out of line. Imagine having the backing of the courts and an entire federal government at disposal of your hands. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the birth of our legal system. The dirty foundation for which now plays its ugly hand fast forward nearly 400-something years odd later. This system has ruled by divide and conquer, eat or be eaten, and most importantly, laws that have always been in favor of the powers that be. Even in the eradication of the Native Americans who were here before anyone else. So imagine somebody coming into your house and creating their own rules. How would you feel about that? Let me do the Dr. Umar Johnson. Let me repeat that. Imagine someone coming into your house. Knock, knock. Hey, this is Becky. How you doing? Okay. Becky comes on in. Come on in, Becky. What's going on? Well, you know what, Miss Jones? I think that this house should have this. That's exactly the example of America. And of course, we know that is a prime example of what's been going on in gentrification. So imagine someone coming into your house, creating their own damn rules for your house. Now, on to my next segment. White kid gets 2 months. Black kid gets 3 years. America's judicial system has been rotten from the onset. There is barely any justice when it comes down to police brutality. Our black boys and black girls are being locked up at an alarming rate. It is a system that is out of control, built around a core principles of oppression and suppression over certain people that are different, disenfranchised, and does not have proper funding in order to afford a private attorney, I should say. And so the defendant, aka black boy, black girl, black man, black woman, has to accept whatever the court offers. And unfortunately, the court is offering us the red pill. You can't fight a system with the dollars of that same system, at least not if you think you're going to win. The very public defenders that are set out overworked and underpaid to defend the common everyday black person, guess what? Just in case you didn't know, these individuals are paid by the state. And they also get paid a lot less than the prosecution that's trying to lock you up. Now, this is just, it's a fallacy. Which is why one little white kid, the same age, same qualification, same background, same criminal history or non-criminal history, can get 2 months in jail for stealing a candy bar, or maybe even just 2 months on probation, while the little black Pookie ends up with 3 years in jail for the same crime at the same age with the same criminal or non-criminal history. If this is not a disparity, then I don't know what is. And to my third and last segment. No one cares until they are personally affected. Unfortunately, right now, a lot of the old heads that may be listening to this podcast and on YouTube, a lot of them are blaming rap music for all of the black community's woes. Oh man, y'all, got the bebop, the woo-bop, the blah, blah, blah. That's killing all the kids right now. Blah, blah, blah. And of course, in my mind, this could not be furthest from the truth. Yes, rap lyrics are dangerous. Yes, we got kids that are out of their mind, crazy, listening to some of these lyrics and just to decide to just go off on somebody or off themselves, whatever the case may be. But to blame violence on a small elite group of artists that is naturally promoting their own way of life in the projects, the hood, wherever they grew up, whatever their atrocity was in and to itself, the problem that people forget to look at is the fact that in order to build a house, it must first have a foundation. And to blame it on just rap music would be a fallacy unto itself. And if that foundation is built on shaky grounds or sand, then that house ain't going to work. It's going to collapse. This nation in itself is built on shaky foundations. Well, at least for those that look like you and me. When I say you and me, I mean Black America. The system was built for the master and his kids to inherit a life of wealth, prosperity, and a legal system that backed it up along the way. This nation has always valued property over people, specifically black people. You have U.S. corporations right now that are profiting off of the slave wage labors of the present industrial complex. Because you see, the prison industrial complex. Because you see, black people bring no value to others unless it is in the most gruesome, harshest, inhumane ways possible to get $1 out of us. And they do it because the U.S. justice system gives them every right to do so. Because white people have attorneys and black people have state-sponsored public defenders. Now, did you know? Let's get into some black facts. Did you know Thurgood Marshall, born July 2nd, 1908, passed January 24th, 1993. Thurgood Marshall was an American civil rights lawyer and jurist who served as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States from 1967 until 1991. He was the Supreme Court's first African American justice. Prior to his judicial service, he was an attorney who fought for civil rights, leading the NAACP legal defense and educational fund. Marshall coordinated the assault on racial segregation in schools. He won 29 of the 32 civil rights cases he argued before the Supreme Court, culminating in the court's landmark 1954 decision in Brown versus Board of Education. And this information was taken from wikipedia.com. And this is another moment in Black Facts. Now, let's take them to church. Hallelujah. The greatest crime that takes place in America every day is a corrupt legal system. A system that prides itself on locking up fresh black bodies while giving well-to-do and even poor white people a pass. Now, one of the best ways to help support this channel is by purchasing our newly minted merch, introducing the Michael Beckford collection, a new collection of socially conscious apparel. Get your tees, hoodies, caps, and more. Link in the description below. And please like and hit that subscribe button. 5 Minutes of Mike is written, produced, and directed by Michael D. Beckford. All rights reserved. Copyright 2023 by Speak Publishing International and Michael Beckford Media Group, LLC production. Thank you for listening and watching.